Welcome back. This is the AFCON Daily Show on Citi TV. My name is Nathan Carfento, Tahiru Daniel Cranting, and Susu Graham are my wingmen. Alrighty, let's have a look at the fixtures that will be taking place today. 1 p.m. Senegal, Guinea. 4 p.m. Malawi versus Zimbabwe. All that is in Group B. And then you've got Group C. Morocco taking on Comoros, and Gabon taking on Ghana at 7 p.m. The Morocco game is at 4. Ghana's game with Gabon is at 7 p.m. And that's where we switch our attention to now. Ghana versus Gabon. The Black Stars need to win to stay in the competition, or at least to give themselves a chance of making the round of 16. The Gabonese are hoping to pick up 3 points to seal their place in the round of 16. Interesting stuff there. Susu, what do the numbers say in terms of what's been happening, what has happened previously, head-to-head, all of that between these two teams? So
we'll start with the head-to-head. We have a pretty impressive record against Gabon. We've won 5 of our 9 games. They've beaten us 3 times. But the 2 games highlighted, they are the only games we played in a AFCON context, in the sense that these were AFCON qualifiers in 1989, and they beat us home and away.
Okay.
Since then, they've won only 1 game, which was a World Cup qualifier in 2008. So apart from that, they've not troubled us much. And these were the first 2 meetings between the countries, actually. So first and second, they won. And since then, it's been a bit of a drought. So recent history shows we are the more capable team. But our last competitive game was, again, the return leg in 2008, which we won. So it doesn't say much about what we've played in recent times. But we might have that psychological edge, given the fact they've not beaten us much. Okay.
All right. Interesting stuff there. Fent, now let's get into what has been said. We've heard Milovan Rajevac talking about the team being well prepared. It doesn't look like Mohamed Kudus is going to play this game. I wonder if he's even in camp. There are questions over Andre Ayew. I've heard Richmond Boakye Adam also speak. Your thoughts on Ghana's preps for this game? It's a very important game, and we've seen Tony Baffle's team talk or speech or whatever. People are making a lot out of that.
Yeah. It was a rallying cry, really, and I think some of those speeches are important. Sometimes you need to let people understand that they represent something much bigger than themselves. I think sometimes footballers can get a bit carried away and think that everything is about them. This is not about you. This is about 30 million people. It's about your families. It's about the whole nation. And so when you go out there fighting, know that you're not just fighting for yourself. Know that there is a certain spirit behind you, and perhaps that reminder is needed every now and then. I think this is a game that we must win. Everybody knows that. I think the players know that. I don't think that if at this age the players need reminder that they have to win against Gabon to stand any chance, then they have no business being at the African Cup of Nations. And, the preparation hasn't, it has been good and I think that this is why I would say that Milovan Rajevac is being a very lucky man, because unlike other teams that have been grappling with the effect of COVID-19 and having key players tested positive every now and then, from arrival till date, no single Ghanaian player has tested positive for COVID-19. So he's had all of them available. He has stated that his captain, Andre Ayew, is also back fit. He missed Wednesday's training because of the injury that he picked up, the head injury that he picked up in the game against Morocco. He has also stated that he wasn't even well when he was fielded against Morocco. He still lasted 90 minutes. I expect a few changes to be made. Rumors going around are that perhaps the coach has dropped Joseph Pencil and he's decided to bring in Daniel Tre as replacement. If that is true, that is quite interesting and perhaps a very surprising one, because if any change would have to have been made, I did not expect that the player to sit on the bench would have been Joseph Tete. Joseph Pencil. I would have expected him to drop captain Andre Ayew, mostly because he's not fit. He has not just not being fit, also because he said he's unwell. Yeah. So, Ayew can still contribute in this game without necessarily starting. That is my opinion. And I think that if you look at someone like Daniel Tre, I think for sure, if anybody had to come in, it had to be him. But I felt like if you look at his numbers, in his club side and the way he has played, he looks at a player that is capable of replacing Andre Ayew.
Okay.
All right, you could still keep Joseph Pinso on that right-hand side. He showed glimpses of what he's capable of. He has an ability that most players in that team don't have, an ability to shoot from afar.
Okay.
He was the only one that forced a really good save from the Moroccan goalkeeper. You need players like that to take shots against the Gabonese. All right, so you are dropping another player. It shouldn't be Joseph Pinso. I don't think that his last performance was that bad. In fact, the last 2 games that he's played, in that friendly game against Algeria and that game against Morocco, he was arguably Ghana's best player.
Okay.
This is a tactical switch, all right? It's what the coach is telling us. It's a tactical switch. He's taking Jordan out to the right-hand side. He's taking Kamaldeen out to the left-hand side. But even if it's a tactical switch, we look at... I'm not exactly convinced, for example, that Andre Ayew, at the age in which he finds himself now, and the impact he had in the last game, that he is a player that should be starting every single game, especially when you look at the tactics that have been deployed by Milovan Rahivac. Mm-hmm. We all sat here last week and we spoke about what Milovan Rahivac's style is, and Daniel went on to extol what our game plan was, and our game plan was sit tight and try to catch them on the break. What is the number one ingredient of playing on the counter?
Pace.
Speed.
Yes.
Speed. Andre Ayew doesn't have it. So if he's one of those players that's going to play up front and we're going to depend on counter-attack, and it doesn't even matter the opposition. Look, every single game that Ghana has played, all right, under Milovan Rahivac, whether before, whether Rahivac 1.0 or Rahivac 2.0, bar the Zimbabwe game, I have not seen any game where Ghana has gone out and dominated.
Okay.
So that's not going to change against Gabon. Well, unless he's going to change that. But based on the football that he has played, if we're going to play on the counter-attack, I think that we need pacey players. Andre Ayew, for me, if he sits there and he watches the game, he's very intelligent. He can come off the bench and make an impact. It's like, if he's not fit, if he's unwell, it doesn't mean that he makes time. If he's not even good player, though. You look at his performance in the last game against Morocco. He only completed 10 successful passes in the entire 90 minutes. How do you play 90 minutes and only play 10 passes? Like, it makes no sense. He's basically jogging around. He's clearing. Yes, and the defensive stats and the numbers were good. But seriously, I would rather have Andre Ayew trying to score than having him at the back clearing chances and clearing set pieces. There are other players that should be mandated to do that.
Okay.
He should be liberated to try and score goals. At the moment, it doesn't look like the tactics favor him. That's my opinion. And I don't think that he's even got the pace and the physical state to be able to do it. So, you know, I don't get it. I can understand why someone would keep Jordan on the bench. Okay. Because we saw Andy Adam against Morocco. Sorry, keep Jordan in the starting 11. Because we saw Jordan against Morocco. No, Andy Adam against Morocco. He was leaking because he had very little support. All right? Maybe that's why he's playing Jordan. Maybe he thinks that Jordan can track back and try to support him. But at the moment, Nathan, our biggest problem is goal scoring.
Okay.
Our Ghana's biggest problem is goal scoring. The last time Ghana won any game away from home in African qualifiers, it has to be against Zimbabwe.
Okay, that was Thomas Partey's free kick.
Yes. Apart from that, you have to go back 2017. So we just don't play very well away from home, and now we have found ourselves in a similar situation where we've gone to Cameroon and we're struggling to win matches. At the moment, let's just score. And to score, based on the style that Milovan has deployed, I think that we need faster players. And I would be very disappointed if he benches Joseph Pinso, because I feel like Joseph Pinso, Kamaldeen, Daniel Tre, Jordan Ayew, if you play those four up top, we stand a very good chance of scoring.
Okay.
Based on the start.
Based on the start. All right. Daniel, what have you got to tell us? Are there things that are hidden? Are there things that we haven't picked up ahead of this game that maybe should give Ghanaian fans a bit of happiness, joy as the Black Stars take on Gabon?
Andre Ayew is slow. Andre doesn't fit the system, yet he's responsible for 50% of goals under Milo. Ghana's biggest problem is goal scoring, yet you want to remove the guy who scored half the goals the team has scored during the time Milo has been there. No, it's not going to happen. If Andrea is fit, he should start. And that is why he's an experienced player. That is why he knows his way around the football pitch. If you are playing, Milo has been playing counter-attacking football since he stepped into the shores of Ghana. And that's what I'm saying. If you are saying the system doesn't suit the guy, but the guy is getting half the goals you are scoring in that same system, then I don't think that statement is right. And if this is a game that you need to score goals, I think you have to have your best goal scorer on the pitch for the entire duration of the park, as long as he's fit enough to continue. And Andrea Ayew is by far the best goal scorer in the Black Stars team, so he will be the first name on my team sheet. Both teams, that's Ghana and Gabon, adopt a 4-2-3-1 system. Gabon are just a bit more attacking than the Black Stars. Okay. I've gone with a similar starting 11 to what we saw in the last game, but based on reports we had this week in training, it looked like Abdul Mumin was playing in the centre-back pairing with Daniel Amate. And I think that makes sense when it comes to playing the ball from the behind. Defenders who have the technical quality to find passes, and he's a bit better in that regard than Alexander Djiku. So I would understand if he's maintained or if he's brought into the starting lineup today. The biggest threat Ghana have to understand in this game is the guy in the middle, is Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. He can't score. You do not want to give him that freedom. Because look, he's a top goal scorer. We know him, even in the national team stats, his club stats, absolutely brilliant. So yes, this is how I expect Ghana to set up. I'm still in favor of Partey playing the holding midfield. Okay. Because you want a progressor. If you look on the Ghana bench, the Black Stars don't have a player who can bring the ball from transition from midfield to attack. So if you shift Partey up to the number 10 position and you bring in another midfielder, that is maybe Edmonado or Wakaso, if he's fit or not, it's going to be very difficult for the Black Stars to create opportunities, especially from deep. So this is where I feel Partey should play to have the best impact in the Black Stars. I've still maintained Joseph Pinto because his performance, he was the best attacking player in the last game. I don't think the head coach will bench him.
Will you be surprised when, say, the starting 11 drops and Joseph Pinto doesn't make it?
If Joseph Pinto doesn't make it and maybe somebody like Fatau Ishahaku is in there for him, I will understand. But if he's dropped and aside as Fatau, I don't think anybody should come on for him. I also expect Andrea Ayew to make these forward runs. If he's playing, of course, and I'm very sure he's playing. Once the head coach has said he's fit, I'm sure he will start this game. I'm sure he will come up as a second striker, making those late runs into the box. His intelligence in the box, and his intelligence in and around the box is next to no one in the Black Stars team. And he has the experience to put the chances away when he has the chance. I want to focus on the threat that Gabon have. And how it may worry the Black Stars of Ghana. In the last game, or pre-match before the Morocco game, we mentioned the fact that Milo doesn't necessarily like his fullbacks to be bumping forward and supporting the attack. And that is facts. If they are going to do that in this game, if they are going to maintain that is fullbacks not being allowed to bump forward, then they have to be 100% concentrated the entire time. Because Gabon play this system where they love to overload the middle and leave the wide men isolated and slip balls into them for them to cause damage. And that is where their strengths lie. If you give them the chance out wide, they can always find someone in the box. And they have a very technically gifted squad. You look at the guys on the wings, they are guys who can punish you. Both Buyanga and Levinia are very good on the ball and they can punish you at any moment in time. So if they are not, they can easily choose the option not to go for Aubameyang and maintain the ball on their feet, play a 1-2 and the ball is in the back of the net. So the concentration of the Ghanaian fullbacks, especially the space in between the fullback and the centre back, be it on the left hand side or right hand side, needs to be at top level in the entire game. If you look at this, was their World Cup qualifier against Egypt. Ball comes in, look at the overload. He has about 5 to 10 yards of space. Ball is slipped into him, of course. This didn't end up in a goal, but just shows you and highlights the threat that they have on that side. Another clip is coming where you see their strength lies on the wide area. So if you're able to cut off supply from the wide areas, then you are almost there in stopping them from getting goals. This was also their World Cup qualifier against Egypt somewhere in November. This is how that goal came. Ball was slipped in from the middle down to him. This was Alivinia, plays it inside, goal line scramble, and the ball ends up in the back of the net. So they rely heavily on their wide men for supply. The creativity doesn't necessarily come from the middle. They usually go on the wide areas, and you have to get it right when you are playing them. You have to be concentrated. This was their last game, World Cup qualifier against Libya. We see ball played in behind from midfield. You see the run right there from the winger. I think it's Alivinia again. Right there, making that run. Defender is falling asleep. Ball is played into him into space. Unfortunately for him, doesn't control the ball well. But this just highlights their threat. So if Ghana, that is Baba Rahman and Mandiyadom, have to be on their D, they have to be very wary of the threat of the Gabonese. Because I feel if Baba Rahman and Mandiyadom have a good day defensively, I think Ghana will be able to cut off supply for Gabon, and Gabon will be kept at bay. One weakness that Gabon team has, and which I think is very glaring, is their goalkeeper. Now, just to put this into context, he hasn't made an appearance for his team this season, Amazulu. They play in the South African League. So you see him here, no appearance whatsoever this season. 0 appearances, 0 minutes, 0 clean sheets. His last competitive game before the opening game against Comoros came in November when he was imposed for Gabon against Comoros. So it's an avenue where the Black Stars can counter. And if you look at Comoros and some of the mistakes he made, some of the dodgy decisions he made, you can tell this is a goalkeeper that is not full of rhythm. Look at him coming out of his box, almost touching the ball out of the 18 area, and that could easily have been a red card. There's another long range shot which came from Comoros, misjudged the flight of the ball. The fact that he saved it, but the technique used to save it, and that's where the problem is. He thought it wise to lean in and try and parry the ball, and that is very dangerous. Any goalkeeping coach will tell you this is extremely dangerous, because once the ball takes a bop or it moves, it could easily cause you problems. So I feel the Black Stars should try as many shots as possible in this game. Don't be afraid to shoot. The goalkeeper is not in rhythm. They are not the most compact team in Gabon. Of course, they like to play football, so then there will be spaces in there. And that's why I think Partey should be given more license to move forward. And you see, this is a tournament. It is not a league. So you don't necessarily see a philosophy run through the entire duration of the competition. You take it one game at a time. So expect teams to play in all sorts of different styles, and so it's something that the Black Stars can take advantage of, the weaknesses of the Gabon goalkeeper.
Will Mario Lamina fit to play?
Well, I mean, that's it. We are not sure yet, so I'm not going to put him in, but it still remains the same. If he's in, the instruction is from the middle. They usually go out wide, so you don't necessarily see his bumping runs through the middle. He's more of a stopper there, but it will make that midfield battle between himself and Thomas Partey even more interesting.
I